Everything you've been told about back pain is just wrong.
That's Brendan Backstrom, aka low back ability, the viral sensation people are calling the back pain miracle worker.
I have a folder of 362 screenshots of people who said they were going to kill themselves. And if they didn't find a way through this, they really couldn't have seen life going on.
I just got the chills.
The doctors, physical therapists, all the experts, they're missing something.
In this episode of BSU, you'll learn why everything you think you know about back pain is wrong.
Stretching your back will not work.
His all-natural and proven method for healing anyone's back pain.
There is some very simple stuff that works for everybody.
And the single best exercise you can do today to build a bulletproof back.
This approach can heal anyone's back pain.
Luigi Mangione, the alleged murderer of the United Healthcare CEO, has stated in his recently deleted Reddit account that he had sciatica and low back pain that even caused brain fog. And in 2018, he wrote, "It's absolutely brutal to have such a life-halting issue that wears down the critical, logical thinking mind." His friends have claimed that he completely changed after his back injury, and police are now investigating whether this has anything to do with his motive behind the murder. Now, by no means do we condone violence or think his back pain should be used as an excuse for his potentially evil act, but we have to ask you, do you think back pain can really drive someone so insane that it causes someone to take someone else's life?
Yes.
Wow. Why?
This isn't a courtroom, right? We're not determining whether this is lawful or just or fair. But if we're just trying to understand, is this possible? It happens every day.
What makes you say that?
Well, so I have personal experience seeing it through my own eyes, and I talk to people every day ready to kill someone over their chronic back pain. Usually it's to kill themselves and not to go towards someone else. But the way somebody crumbles and falls apart, that's person by person.
So can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Because it seems like you're saying that you've gone to a place where you can see yourself wanting to kill yourself maybe through your experience. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, everything sounds crazy till you go step by step and just listen to the unwinding of this process of how a physical injury can take over your whole body in life. So I had a back injury that started in the summer of 2019. So that marks the start of this all. And then over the next 3-4 months, I thought I was getting a bit better. I found some relief, but then I entered the low back chronic loop, which a lot of people find themselves in, where re-injury happens. And then I start to get really consumed by daily pain. Sitting in a chair became uncomfortable. If this was then, I would already have been shifting. And then I would actually start to stand like I'm doing a freestyle. And so you would see that I'm not well, but you learn to hide it when you're 20, 21 years old. So I'm sitting in class throughout this, already just being off, feeling a little bit wrecked. I'm not lifting anymore. I can't do sports. I'm sitting out of the track season. This is enough to cause a 21-year-old to be a bit sad.
And what caused this back injury?
So now I know the societal ingredients. We just skipped the low back altogether. What caused it was avoidance, hip mobility issues, just general training fallacies.
So it wasn't just a moment.
It was lifting, it was deadlifting. But I don't want to say that tagline and then people are like, it's always the deadlifts. My nephew Johnny said he deadlifts. I don't it's not, that's the deadlift that broke the camel's back. But yeah, so I had the wrong ingredients. I was lifting. I was in a sports team in college, herniated disc, great. The injuries were spreading, and so now I had serious hip issues. And I'll fast forward the nitty-gritty of the details of terms and everything with the injuries, but essentially after 6 months, the pain got so chronic and bad on a lifestyle level that I couldn't sleep well. And then I went days without sleeping, and then I was starting to get sick all the time. It felt just completely random. It's a tough year.
So it's like a domino that falls and then everything else follows.
What ended up happening for me, by the time I was 6 or 7 months in, I didn't sleep well for 2-3 months, and now I'm getting the flu once a month. I'm getting strep throat and all these chronic illnesses, and now I'm getting panic attacks because my nervous system is on high. I'm living a 6 out of 10 pain chronically, and those ingredients for the next 3-4 months started to actually make my brain fall apart to where I had brain fog. Just started with a headache, and I had a headache that never went away for about a year. And it was just a dull ache that grew and grew and grew. And then my insomnia got worse and worse. My back pain got worse and worse. I was going to doctors first for just the spine. And if you're 22 and you just have a herniated disc and nothing else on the MRI shows, they tell you nothing's really wrong with you. I'm like, I don't know about that. They recommend maybe you go to a psychologist. Maybe you're just an anxious kid. And so now you're feeling kind of gaslit to the whole situation that my back pain is not real. The way it's taking over my life isn't serious enough. And so now basically to the point of getting to where you might harm yourself or do something drastic and just irrational, I lost my mind so much in this brain fog and the headache to where it's my birthday and I'm around my family and they're all singing happy birthday to me and I'm stressed out because I can't even tell you the date.
Wow.
And this sounds fake. This sounds very fake. But at the same time, I couldn't read. So if I had paper in front of me and I wanted to, I understand what the letters mean. I couldn't put them together and actually return it to you. And I remember telling my family, I can't think. Like I'm not here. And it started to morph into an existence of like, you know, those bad dreams where you feel like you got to jump off a cliff to get out of it. You're like, I don't know I'm lucid dreaming? Is this real or not? My actual life was like that for about 6 to 8 months after that rock bottom. Having almost consciousness stripped away. You know, you hear this and you're like, oh, that guy struggles with mental health. I'm a pretty resilient, sound, intelligent person, just frankly. Like, so for me to not have any control over my experience for 2 years of life, and it started with a physical injury that spread and is a catalyst. So when we're talking about this case of Luigi saying, well, back pain, murder, how does that actually work? If you're trying to measure them like math, it's not going to make sense. But life operates in a story. It's not an equation. And the route there makes sense because I had one that could have led there had I been raised a little different, had a different sort of way to tick and a different way to fall apart. And so intelligent, strong-willed, strong-minded people can crumble in that sort of experience.
When was the breaking point where you changed your life?
I reached such a dysfunctional, dysregulated state, mind, body. My injuries were just wrecking me in every way. My mind was just not here. To where it felt like something just snapped in me to where I think I was waiting to die. That's what it felt like. I stopped eating for about 7 days.
Wow.
So inadvertently, I just couldn't do it. I literally could not. I had zero life energy.
Wow.
Maybe it was my way of trying to go.
Is it
I'm
just
not really
ultra
sure.
depression? Like just
Maybe. And I just sat there and essentially I inadvertently fasted for 7 days. And now knowing a lot more about fasting and the potential to actually kind of supercharge and kick things into gear for healing, that might have been the catalyst that just took a momentum change for me.
Interesting. Walk us through the rest of it. How do you become low back ability today, where you're helping thousands of people with their low back pain? There's clearly this gap in information. There's this gap where people are looking for answers and nobody has them. And it seems like you have found those answers because you are helping so many people because you helped yourself. So when did that happen and how did that happen?
I just started Googling everything I could, not in PubMed anymore or Google Scholar for the science and the research. I was looking elsewhere. Instagram, Googling weird videos, trying to find like stuff you wouldn't click on, to find even anything conflicting, any of the opposite. And I started to find Instagram influencers that were starting to do really cool stuff with reversing out injuries, more for the knees. So there was knees over toes guy, who you guys know about.
Yep.
So I found his stuff and I was doing a lot of it for my knees. It wasn't tailored to the back. He didn't have a spine injury. So I don't think it would have been step by step on how to fix the spine, but I realized this approach makes a lot more sense than everything I was taught about. Pain is a sign you're doing too much, you need to do less, and you need to avoid your spine at all costs. So after getting some progress with my knees that I had issues with before, I just decided like, all right, this is like a Hail Mary shot. I need to figure something out. So I found out where he was at, found out where he lived, found out not his address, but what city, found out where the gym was at, and I packed up my whole life. I texted Jordan, 24-hour notice, yo, bro, I'm going on a little mission, might be back, I don't know. And had no money, barely even got there. I road tripped 24 hours straight through a blizzard, went to his gym, found some Discord or Telegram of some like group chat he had to send a message that he wasn't expecting and pitch my life, basically. What I've been through, what I'm trying to do. I was really focused on trying to make the Olympics for sprinting. We got a whole different episode. We could talk about sprinting and that delusional thing, but and the injury history I had and the whole year I had. And so he hired me. I just wanted to clean the bathrooms and sit in the back for free to learn. And I worked for that company, and I just started to have a little bit more of an in to like, what else is out there to fixing injuries?
So he got you to start questioning everything.
Yeah.
He was proof that there were different ways to solve these common problems that everyone had.
Right. I think I just found the right questions. We are only investing money, research, focus into the treatment of symptoms. That's the fruit of the tree. We never get to the root of the tree. You fix the root, the fruit will be nice next harvest. You keep chopping off the fruit, it does nothing for the systemic problem.
So tell us the root.
Sounds cute, right? Now here it is. Here's the root. The low back is trainable. It's a living structure. Actually more adaptable than many joints in the body because there's actual intraspinal muscles in the vertebrae of your spine. So when you go to the doctor's office and to say I was 22 years old and I'm complaining about my back, you go to the spine specialist office and they're going to have a little model of the spine and they're going to show you here's the bone, here's the nerve, here's the disc. So they can tell you here's what's hurting, here's what's causing it, and here's what's going to break down by the time you're 30. God, that sounds terrible. They slap you with a diagnosis and say, be careful. Now, what you don't see on the model is there's layers and layers of tissue around it that are equally as important in working symbiotically. Muscles like interspinalis, meaning spine muscle in between, multifidus, rotatorus, a bunch of nerdy stuff, right? So the spine is meant to be moved through ranges. It's meant to be stimulated through direct strength. But when you're a trainer and a chronic back sufferer, you learn to be avoidant and afraid, lift with your legs, don't round your back. And now to go back to the answer of what's the root problems is that we only look at the back problems once it's so far gone that you have diagnosable injuries, degenerative disc disease, the disc herniations, stenosis, spondylolisthesis like Luigi had. So you think that's the problem. Oh, his problem, he had spondylolisthesis, when really all of those things are actually symptoms. Most back injuries that are not from an acute car accident crazy thing, the recurring degeneration that happens over time are symptoms of having what the root problem is, which is you have a bad back, or I've called it a shit back. One that's sensitive, hidden in imbalance, incredibly weak, and tight as fuck.
Wow.
A shit back. If your spine is sensitive all the time, you're going to lose range of motion, lose the ability to use it, speed up aging and decay. If it's hidden in imbalance like me, how I had to sit, like I said earlier, I would have already shifted 10 times. Every time you do that over and over, your hips are starting to try to compensate, and then my hips were 1 to 2 inches higher like that. So that's why I got hip issues. And then if you're taught don't train your back, well, then it becomes incredibly weak because how strong is your bicep? If you guys work out, well, you guys are more into CrossFit, but what's your power clean? Can you tell me?
Mine's like 225.
Okay.
About 245.
Yeah, I had to get 20 pounds.
Of course.
So you know that number, but if I ask, how much can you do on the back extension for 10 reps?
Yeah.
Never trained it, or even how many bodyweight reps to failure. And so The wrong question is we're trying to fix everything about the breakdown of the spine, but nothing about why is it breaking down. It's not a matter of age.
So how do we go from the shit back that you're talking about to a strong one?
Fortunately, there is some very simple stuff that works for everybody. It's going to seem too simple to be real, but it is step -1 for somebody who's so back afraid and is trying to feel like, okay, sell me in 30 seconds. If you do this with me, you'll be like, oh, wait, okay. I guess I haven't felt that in a long time. So we can sit back. I don't know if I'm still going to be in the shots and be all good. So we're going to sit at the edge of a chair. This is an interactive podcast. We don't like people who sit and watch at home and don't do it with us. So please, guys, you got to be in it. Every inch the shoulders are in front of the hips. You're starting to load the spinal muscles. We're not going to round. We're just getting tension. So lean forward. Keep your shoulders back. Try to have your hands behind your head. And go more and more and more and more and more. Right. Back's pretty flat still. Try to go as much as you can without it rounding. Right there. Just hold that. So this seems too simple to be real. If you hold even this, if you go for even 90 seconds, you're going to start to feel warmth in your back. That turns into a little pump. And then you just made your own first little back deposit. So you guys got to keep going. And you're also getting a little circulation, a little flush out through the spinal tissue. So let's do 5 more seconds. And then come up. It's so easy, it doesn't seem real. It's not even about is it hard or easy. I don't know how long that was. But we have machines that I show people do where they hold their body weight off of it. That's a bit harder.
What's that machine called?
It's a back extension machine, a Roman chair machine. The idea is a few things here why this is actually worthwhile. I can see myself looking at that 5 years ago and then clicking off the video. This is your guy. This is really, okay, this is what it all came down to.
This is your back expert?
We're talking about, this is your king? Yes, look. This is step super 0 of, it's about the direction, not destination. The direction of getting your back to pain-free contraction and pain-free circulation. Those are the two things that go wrong. So when someone has years of spinal issues, they will do imaging and they can actually look into the muscle of the spine and it starts to change in quality where there's fatty infiltration. You ever look at grass-fed beef versus a different beef or Wagyu, how you can have different marbling? We're the same. And usually the fatty infiltration into the muscle represents a less healthy tissue. It becomes less vascular. It doesn't get as much blood flow. You're not flushing through the nutrients that come through when you actually get a pump. And so that seems too easy to do what you just did, but how silly is it that we're quicker to get electrodes to try to fire for us and like all these contraptions based on pain, when it's like if you even just daily got 120 seconds, 2 minutes of some stuff flushing out, it can start that simple.
Yeah. What is the one exercise that if I did on a weekly basis would help me to get rid of this back pain once and for all?
The back extension progression. So it's essentially what I showed you guys, just off the edge of a machine. And now people are going to have a little fit, some people, of, well, that costs money, that takes space. We're committed to trying to help to that problem too. So
this machine, though, if you went to a gym, would it be in a gym?
Most gyms.
Most
some
gyms.
Not. I think we're making progress. I think we're creating the demand for them, but most gyms will if you look at it.
So let's say I'm a person that goes to a gym and I have this back extension machine. What would you tell me to do?
What's my prescription?
You're going to start 3 times a week doing at first for the first month. You're going to do 1 set of holds.
Just hanging off and holding myself straight out.
You can put videos. It can be 45 degrees. Make sure it's not the 90-degree ones. 45 degrees. You could add, if you're not in the crippling low back problem with your whole life, then just treat it like an add-on to your normal program and do 2 minutes on that machine, holding, deep breaths, getting the fight or flight off, just being very calm. So that's the investments for the first month. Then you start single leg, because as soon as you go 1 leg on the machine, your body is 2 sides, but you have 1 leg, you want to tip a little bit. Now there's small muscles in between your spine that have to activate to keep you stabilized, a rotatorus for rotation. You may not care about that, but the point is take a longer game approach. Don't make it this gym culture, pump chasing, no pain, no gain thing, because you might give yourself a back issue. And then after a month of those single leg holds for 1 minute each side, hope you guys are writing this down. Then you start to do reps. And so for the next month or two, you can start to go on the machine and do little half reps, keep your back flat, and now use range of motion and feel how does it respond. Still, you can do 3 days a week, one set, like 10, 15. And then the eventual goal is that you've gotten to full range reps where you decompress. Your head's facing the ground, your vertebrae are separating. You're getting really good decompression therapy. But now on the way up, you use the little muscles to recompress the spine, which is what's missing in a lot of that decompression therapy. And so you're getting at first just the big muscles with the holds, 2 legs, 2 minutes. Then you do the single leg hold for 1 minute. Now you're getting a little different muscles. As soon as you start working the reps and eventually gaining tolerance to the full range, now you're getting actual intraspinal stuff in between the vertebrae. You're separating disc space, and that's real longevity of the spine. You may never have a spine issue in your life if you go slow enough, and of course don't get hit by a F-150 or something, but like you're going to prevent all of the chronic solvable back pain that's a result of avoidance like that. So 2 to 3 times a week, if you like that. I've gotten to a point in my Backstrong, I like to go hard like once a week, and I treat it like a leg day. And I hit 6 sets on that machine with weight. But you could stick body weight, do the holds, do the reps. The standard for the reps is 30 body weight reps, full range, and you're going to be good.
Let's say I don't have the back extension machine. Let's say I don't have the gym membership. The at-home solution with bare bones is what we did in the chair, just literally leaning over. It's not going to do that much, but you have another at-home solution, right?
That seated in the chair is really my elevator pitch. Now, this company partnered with me. Well, he's been asking if I want to do an affiliate, and I decided, you hear my backstory, I want to be thorough that I'm here for one mission only, and I'm not trying to make spare change on different things because that can dilute people's trust in me. So I was like, I'll never do an affiliate ever. All these sock companies, don't even try. Jordan, block them. And so he made the Nord stick, which is a little strap that goes under the door that you can do Nordic hamstring curls. That's cool. And then he knew I was doing the back stuff. And he's a physical therapist that saw lots of patients with back issues. And one of the biggest things I told him were an issue was there's no at-home solution for these back extension machines. And it sounded like a crazy idea, but we have this strap apparatus with the maker of TRX, the guy who made those. He worked with them, and they have this doorway kind of anchor. It goes into TRX handles, and then there's a really safe and strong strap. And then you can lean yourself against the strap, and it's attached to the doorway. You lean forward, and now it's like being in that machine. And now you can do the holds, you can do the reps, and you can travel with it. I've gone on tour with like certain celebrities and certain people to fix their back, and I brought that with us, and we could do it in hotels and do it wherever. So, because it's really inconvenient to try to throw a back extension in the car, you know? And so even if you have that at home, that'll completely do it. If you're just trying to get healthy, I've even done it weighted with dumbbells, like 100 pounds. So, and I do want to plug this in just for anyone who's like, okay, I'm dead broke as a college kid. That company is really cool, and why I brought up the whole righteousness against affiliates is because he agreed to let me do a thing with the commission where, you know, it's a standard, it's 10% off discount code of low back ability, and then I would make 10%. And so he's letting me use all the 10% that I would make, and then he's going to let me reinvest it. We're already doing it. We're reinvesting all the commission money to giving people free back extensions at production cost, not even retail. So he's not making money from it. I'm not making money from it. So we're giving away, he makes machines and the back buddy straps. So we've already given away like 25 back extensions. We do it every 2 weeks forever. So it's not even like one big giveaway, comment, subscribe. I don't even engagement trap. Like just go on the site. There's a little tab in the menu drop down that's get your back extension. And depending if you want the full machine or you want a more convenient, smaller one, we're giving away like 30 back buddies this week. I'm teasing excited just because I'm like, I wish I saw this when I was like a kid. I want to shake his hand. I would have found me and been happy.
Is this on lowbackability.com
Yes.
also? And how much just for the people listening, how much is the back buddy on the door, and then how much would a machine cost?
The back buddy on the door, only on the site, is selling for $99. And then the full machine, it's kind of like a 2-in-1 machine to do Nordics too, and it's adjustable. It's really good. That one's $400, which is a little more expensive. You can find some good ones for like Valor Fitness has a good one, no paid affiliation, $220. There's some stupid cheap ones that are kind of dangerous off Amazon.
Might as well go with the back buddy at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So you got options. I really have no bias to people getting that.
Another stat I found is that $50 billion is spent annually on back pain treatment. So I think that maybe that $400 number is a lot of money in some people's heads, but if you think about
surgery is $40K on average.
Surgery is $40K, right? So it's like you said, you're investing in your future. And if you can do the work now, that $400, or even if you go the lower range of the $100 and just start getting your back in a good place, you're really preventing yourself from spending thousands down the line. So
I've been following your content now for a few months, and I kind of figured out from watching a lot of your videos that the back extension is the one that you keep repeating over and over and over again. So I started doing them with Nick at our CrossFit gym. And actually, Mike Lynch, our mutual friend, is the one who got us to start doing them.
And Alex, the owner of the gym, took me into that gym when I had nothing. I slept on the couch upstairs. And he's like, he knew I was doing the back thing, and I was trying to blow up doing that back in New York. And he actually bought that back extension for me to train clients. He was like, all right, we got the same exact one you like. The Valor one is downstairs.
Shout out CrossFit Sunset Park.
At CrossFit Sunset Park, great people.
So yeah, we've been doing just trying to get 30 reps. And just recently I was able to do my first 30 reps unbroken. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a low back test.
But I say this because it's the only thing I've been doing for my lower back, just this one exercise. But I've seen my back pain completely evaporate, and my strength abilities during CrossFit workouts, like close to double. I think this lower back really controls fucking everything else, man. It's insane.
It's the same reason, like polarity, right? A lot of things that are drastically true in one direction tend to have some truth in the other direction. So if the low back injuries can become full back problems, low back success can become full back success. And that sounds cute, but like there's Olympic coaches. There's a guy, Charles Poliquin, who died. He was the mentor of the knees over toes guy. He produced the most Olympic athletes in history. He was very gatekeeped on the stuff though. It was like $30K for a seminar. He just wanted to keep it to be a legend in sport coaching, right? And a lot of these exercises, the 2-minute test I found actually was from him. Nothing new under the sun. But what's interesting is he always talked about how low strength in the low back radiates everywhere. And he ran it through the world's best athletes, that if all they did was get the back extension and direct spine strength, absurd, back squat went up, bench pressing went up. I'm talking unrelated stuff, because think about strength. A lot of it's nervous system. That's why the skinny guys can lift heavy, right? There's a different nature to that, to building muscle and strength. There's overlap, but so if you can get the center of your body where there's the most nerve innervation, there's the most neurology and nerves, and basically that is as much neuromuscular as you can get activation of your whole body. Strength there has no choice. It just tends to. Now, maybe the science isn't there, but scientists don't like to tend to lift 200 pounds on their neck, so they didn't want to run that study, but it's been shown with elite athletes, and it's definitely not just for the injured person trying to climb out of back hell. It's for everybody, athletes, average person. So
let's cover some misconceptions around healing back pain. If I give you a list of things, can you tell me misconception or not, and then break down what we should be doing instead?
We're going to find out.
All right. So misconceptions. Rest.
Effective in short term, ineffective long term. It cannot fix deficiency. It can only fix overuse and acute injury. So useful as a Band-Aid.
Okay. Weightlifting. This is a big one. I feel like people avoid weightlifting at all costs. It's like the scariest thing when you have back pain.
It's how you do it. It's not what you do. So people say, oh, deadlifting's terrible. I deadlift in a way that I would lower the weight and control it and then lift up. You could build your back strong enough to handle some crazy, if you're lucky, gripping it, but if you're more spine conscious to not have that much risk, I guess, you can still lift very heavy. It's just about intention. So categorizing a whole thing as bad is misassociating a certain culture that people think weightlifting, oh, it's bad for kids. They're talking about like mindless, kind of silly, which I don't even do anyways, And so, nope, I think it's how you do it, not what you do. Build your back brace, build your own back brace through the stuff we do, and you shouldn't have any issue.
Stretching.
The back specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
or even I've been told stretching my hamstring is going to help my back pain go away. Is that true or not true?
Doesn't help to be inflexible, but the way that I do it, instead of stretching your back, because people use these weird drills and Band-Aid things. They hug their knees. They do these little airplane windshield wipers. They prop their leg up. You've been stretching your back every day for months, yet your back is still tight. So what does that tell you? Tightness is a symptom. It's not the root cause, because you treat the symptom of tightness, it shows back up. You got to ask, why is your back tight? Sensitivity causes tightness. So your back is tight because it has no trust that it could go through range. So it keeps it locked up, especially with the low back. And so stretching has a role only if and after you have been strengthening and getting pain-free contraction, pain-free circulation. If you're getting blood flow through there, you got a little pump, and then you're contracting and you've shown that you can hold positions, then opening up that range makes sense. But if you're doing no strengthening for your low back, my uncle had on and off back issues in his 40s. He wrecked his spine in a yoga class. Yoga's not bad. Yoga as the solution for tightness of your back when you've had chronic weakness and avoidance won't work. Any practice of stretching, not just even yoga. I'd done class, cool. You have to match the strength with the stretch, always. So it's part of the equation. Most people's first step is not stretching, though.
Okay. Should we ice or heat?
Yeah. So again, inflammation is a symptom, not the cause. Why is your back inflamed chronically? If you're taking Advil 3 times a day like I was, I only speak on things I used to look at terribly wrong and wreck myself with. So taking anti-inflammatories, corticosteroid shots, that's direct anti-inflammatories, and ice, all focused on trying to stop the pain-inducing inflammation. We know inflammation causes all these issues. Now, holistically, you could look at the whole body inflammation, your health, your eating, your sleep. That's a real thing. But chronic, local, low back inflammation has a cause, just like tightness. And as you get that pain-free circulation consistently in contraction, that evidence will let the inflammation stop with time. That's what we found. So ice is usually the goal for that. That's why I brought up inflammation. It can make you feel better, but it's never going to fix something. Heat at least helps your body do what it already does. It's warming up an area, and when you're warmed up, you always feel a little better.
It seems like none of these questions are the right questions to be asking. None of them really matter.
Because you have a shit back. Sensitive, hidden imbalance, incredibly weak, tight.
They're playing the short game, not the long game.
Amen. Exactly.
What is your purpose with low back ability?
To try to save the former me, selfishly, first and foremost. I won't pretend like anything drives me more than that. But fortunately, I know the scope of where that leads to. I believe if you want to change the world, you got to really work to change yourself. And I'm just trying to give everything I used to need. And that seems to work for a lot of people. And then it got me thinking a little more altruistically, like, what else is needed? And then I start learning these stats. Now I'm disturbed. So I just started as like an influencer trying to help a few people out there. And then the feedback was overwhelming. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Followers.
and there's a lot of them, right? Low back ability has grown to almost over 500,000 Instagram followers. And with all those followers and these viral videos that you're putting out there, you're helping so many people. Are there any specific messages or stories that come to mind that really have touched you in a way where you say, wow, like I feel like I'm doing the work that I'm meant to be doing?
I have a folder of 362 screenshots.
Wow.
No, there's more. I have a bigger folder of thousands. I have a folder of 362 screenshots of people who said they were going to kill themselves.
What?
And if they didn't find a way through this in a different light in the next year, they really couldn't have seen life going on.
I just got the chills.
You know why I saved that folder? It's not to make myself feel all righteous and great, because for every message I got like that, there's a situation like on the news. Or a little less public, a little less controversial. You never hear their name, and they're dead. So I've gotten messages from people saying, my brother killed himself last year, and it all started with back pain. So
you're literally saving lives, man.
Not enough. And that's where it feels great to say I'm saving lives, but it has made a dent. The goal of this, it's a mix of like a calling and something that would be a burden if I tried to ignore and really haunt me, because I've just seen too much. It's actually the most disturbing silent epidemic that is going on right now that people don't realize is at the root of many other epidemics. We have the opiate epidemic, the depression, mental health epidemic. None of these things usually tend to be isolated problems. They had a source that you didn't think was relevant, but it is. But we can put out the truth at a level that is irrefutable, and it checks out, and the results are beating out the standard, and it's cheaper, and there's no gatekeeping, and it's transparent. It by the people, for the people, it's pay what you want. Then these people that are selling outdated information for $5,000, trying to sell someone who's like desperate in pain, they're not going to have business.
So if someone listening or watching this right now felt like they were alone on this journey of their back pain, where can they go to join this community?
www.lowbackability.com. You're going to click get access. You can pay the minimum $2 if you want. If you don't trust an internet stranger, I wouldn't. And you can change it anytime, cancel anytime. Then you click on community page. You're going to get in the Discord. And then in there, you'll see introduce yourself, see all the tabs. You just say, hey, I'm Sally, 23 years old. Pour out your life. People are going to hug you virtually. People are going to come and tell you you're not alone. And it's only going to be people who get it. And so that's the step-by-step.
But it's more than a community. It's an actual, like, guide.
If this is my shameless plug-in moment, we have the online self-serving roadmap, something like the step 0 all the way to the crazy stuff I do. We put it out on a roadmap. And I promise when I teach them, I'm not as allegory and in the metaphors and stuff. I'll teach you the actual bare basics, what you need, how hard to work, when to lay off. You just hurt your back resting. Is resting good? We talk on those things. When to rest, how much. Pay what you want, meaning you can pick the subscription price. I didn't feel comfortable setting a price. If I put it for $1, people would have thought, oh, it's not valuable. And I'm like, no, this is better than the $1,000 thing you were going to buy. But if I do $1,000, I'm the same problem, the reason I couldn't get it earlier. So we are trying to change the game. We really want to just set a precedent about like, even the way you do business, like you guys. I'm inspired by you guys.
Thanks, man.
From the nonprofit to what you're doing here. Even you can see it in the network of friends you guys have. Like that stuff is contagious.
Thanks, man.
And it brings real leaders out of people that thought they were losers, like me.
That's beautiful, man. Well, we want to say thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, and also just thank you for giving people hope and a reason to keep going and seeing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, man.
And for doing it with the heart that you do.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
What up, Feel fam? If you don't just have crippling back pain, but you're also dealing with some shit mentally, then you probably will also like this episode right here, where we talk about the book that cured our depression when we were going through it. Love you. Peace.